Hi, welcome to today's Monday's podcast. Today we're going to be talking about three key areas, very important, and what we're seeing in our intelligence hub a lot recently. So again, we're just going to jump straight into three key areas should be reviewing right now. So we're going to go through the three key areas we should be thinking about. What we're seeing is most businesses already have the data. There's no question. And some of the things I've been looking at just recently and been involved in some strategic conversations, obviously from an education point, is what we're saying at Expo and Lots is you have the data. It's what you do with the data. It's all right having all these apps and all these platforms and everything. Great, but if you're like me and used them in the past, they're a nightmare to use. That's why when we built ours, we didn't build it for you to have. We built it for us to be able to use to help you get what you need. So we can look at it quickly. We know what tools are required. We look at commodity codes, origins, your CDS, your costs, your valuation. We can do that because we know what we're looking for. Whereas you get the platform, how many people actually physically look at it and use it? That's always a challenge in it. So what it means, interpreting signals hidden with the existing data. So the signals are normally there. You can normally look at your data and see it. So that's the beauty of AI. What I see, I don't see the beauty in AI as we talk about. I see the beauty of using it correctly and making sure your business gets lean. It gets very much into the supply chain new world, as we say. It's changing beyond recognition. Prioritizing the intelligent drives the decisions, what actions, turning insights into measurable business outcomes. You've got the data. You have to extract that data or get somebody to extract it for you and get the information. Very, very important. Key questions, we're still seeing things like inward processing. If you're repairing goods or you're bringing goods in and you're just boxing them up and sending them out, there's lots of things you can use that save your VAT, save your duty. It's not about the VAT. People say, well, I can claim the VAT, but it's all the hassle in it. You have to, you have to account for it. You can PBA, and then you have to account for it on the systems. It gets all messy. But in a lot of cases, remember, when you're repairing goods, you don't own them goods. You don't own the goods. They're being sent back to you as a return. When you repair them, obviously you have to follow a simple and very simple, procedure and process. And if you don't follow that, it can be very, very messy. And also, if you have a HMSC audit, it could be an issue for you. Customs warehousing, again, if you're a hub, other things you can use, returns goods, as we've just mentioned, correct CPC uses. Again, it's great having all these systems, but if your CPC is not being used correctly, customs procedure and code, it's a nightmare because customs will, things will just won't happen. So again, having that relationship with your freight forwarder or your broker or even your carrier. I put carrier separately now to a freight forwarder. It's very important because a lot of people doing returns tend to use a carrier. Again, supply chain is not disciplined. Business, put my teeth back in. Business should actually review their exposure across 4 critical areas. This is what we're seeing on our trade intelligence. We're seeing this every week. Supply dependency, again, looking at your supplier. How's that going to affect you? Can you plan that in the next few years? Are you comfortable that will work? If it works, fine. But again, don't be too dependent, especially with a very volatile world we live in at the moment. Country concentration amplifies geopolitical risk, so geopolitical risk, because obviously if you're just in one area and all your, everything's clustered around there, what happens if something happens? I'm not saying it will. I'm not trying to fight. We're not here to fight anybody on these channels. We're here just to talk openly, but we certainly see that. And when we come down to the geopolitical exposure, trade tensions can disrupt, established routes overnight. We saw that with the Strait of Hormuz, and we're seeing that recently with other areas, in particular, containers come from China now having to go all the way around and use the land of Good Hope, and that's putting an extra 1 or 2 weeks. But if you've got goods and you're urgent, or you got raw materials, there's a lot of people forget this. People just assume that people bring goods in and sell them. Lots of manufacturing are bringing goods in, as raw materials, what they need for their manufacturing. Freight is one of the biggest areas, and it's something we're going to be looking at a lot in the next few weeks, because obviously freight, my background, the resilience, knowing your freight cost. How many companies are going and saying they have no idea what they're paying with the freight forwards? Freight forwards do a great job, but they're there to make money at the end of the day. So you've got to make sure that what you're paying is correct and having that relationship with your freight forwarder. So if it is slightly higher, but you're getting a great service, that might be worth more to you than shopping around. But again, that's things that we can look at here. We have the expertise and the knowledge around that area. So again, what happens if your largest supply becomes unavailable tomorrow? What do you do? So again, it's just planning. Supply chain now is all about planning. Again, AI is becoming a business requirement, staff capability. We've seen this. There's no doubt that within the next 10 years growth, companies that have people who specialize or understand AI is going to move very quickly. I can assure you. Can your team work effectively with AI tools? We're not saying they're not going to be there. It's can you work with the tools? We work with tools for the last 5 or 6 years. We've been building tools, but can you physically work with them? Can your staff? That's where you need to start training your staff because AI is coming. It's coming like there's no tomorrow. You remember the internet came, the websites and everything around there. Very important to understand. Data visibility is your data. Sorry, just excuse me. That's somebody's dog today and just decided to talk about because we're halfway through. Data visibility is your data access for structured for analysts. Can you look at it? How do you look at that data? Decision making, put any decision informed by data. I'm looking at data as my business all the time, and I change and I move things because the data is telling me. I'm not guessing. I'm not saying, oh, I've had a bad day today, I'm going to do this. This is it. It's so important. So again, AI is not going away. It's going to have huge GDP growth in the next 10 or 12 years. The figures are all there. Lots and lots of your banks and everybody else are investing huge amounts of money. They don't invest that kind of money if they don't foresee how AI is going to disrupt the market. But it doesn't disrupt the market. It disrupts how you see things. And again, just having that training. And that's why we built our platform, to help businesses. The opportunity is already there. You've got the customs data, you've got the supply data, you've got your freight data, you've got your customs data, you've got your financial data. People say, well, I don't have the freight data. Of course you do. You get invoices from your freight companies. Just analyze it all, or get users to analyze it, and let's see where the fluctuations are. If there are fluctuations, let's look at your customs. Let's look at your data. Let's look at your supply data. Give all the information's there. It's very clear. So again, it's very important. The question is whether your business has the tools and capability to act on it. All these tools we see around the world, and we can do this and do that. The person even selling it doesn't know how to sell it because they don't understand it. So how the hell are you going to use it? So again, use the people in the right markets who understand what your needs are. Speak to us, send us an email, and we can certainly help you. From intelligence to action, trade intelligence, real-time intelligence. Again, we keep you up to date. Diagnostics, we do diagnostics on lots of different areas. We've changed the way we do diagnostics. We've built tools, we've got AI tools, but we're not now putting them into the market. We're going to use them because we think it's better for us to have them and to give you the answers that you need, not you trying to get it. Because we know we'll give it you won't use it, or you won't get the information you need. We know what you're looking at. We built the platform over a 4 to 5 year period. We've been in AI since 2018, 2019. I've seen customs, I've seen everything changing enormously. By my first meetings when somebody's explaining machine learning in 2018, I'm like, what they're going on about? What are you going on about? Machine learning? Come on. I remember watching films on that, not to be thinking, the Terminator, but trust me, it's here now, and I've seen the involvement. I've seen how it's evolved and evolved. But I find it exciting. I don't find it a challenge. I find it exciting. Experts guidance to ensure your business, and we've got the Level 4 Academy. The diploma in the Level 4 is very important because the modules are built around today's supply chain exposure, AI, using AI in social media and things like that. It's been built to the modern supply chain management. So if you want to get ahead of the game, we're going to start that in September. It's off call. It's they're all great friends at TRCC who have done a lot of work with us to get this approved. And we're just waiting for the final little bits. And we'll be ready to go in September. Join us. You're going to really enjoy learning everything about supply chain management, how to use data, how to use AI, how to use IP, how to apply for customs warehousing, AO, all the key things that sometimes just go over people's head. We'll teach you, we'll learn you. Teach, learn, educate. That's the key to it. Again, understand the market, understand your business, trade intelligence, compliance, diagnostics. We have the YouTube channel. Please join us on there. It's very important. Just jump on it. It's always there. And again, these are quick fire because obviously we're not going into too much detail, but we look forward to seeing you on the Trade Intelligence Weekly. There's a lot of interesting information coming on that. And again, we've got the tools we're scouring. Probably about 200 to 300 different modules what we're looking at, or data, should I say? I'll call it data. We're looking at data all around the world. we're giving that up-to-date information every single week on a Wednesday. Again, tune in. We can tell you everything what's happening, and it can prepare you as well. So thanks for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.